to catch up our future selves. Remember in 2020, it was just on lockdown because of COVID and you had to be 6 feet from everyone you didn't live with. Hopefully you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, everybody will have forgotten in a year's time.
Welcome to this episode. How's
Yeah.
everyone doing? Hope they're not as sunburnt as my arms are right now. How you been?
Significantly less outside than you from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
I've mainly just been looking at the sun and the greenery from the window.
Yeah, I've been getting very familiar with sewer grates.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that's cool. Either that or just like placing mosquito traps in like random rural areas and then picking them up the next day. It's pretty weird how they work. Apparently mosquitoes are attracted to carbon dioxide.
Oh,
Is that indicates that there's like living things nearby just like breathing and stuff. So it's you put dry ice, you hang it on like a tree or something,
mm-hmm.
and then you put a fan attached to it to blow like the carbon dioxide everywhere. So the mosquitoes are like, ooh, the fan blows them into a bag. So they like just like go near the carbon dioxide and then they get blown into a bag and the air is too strong for them to escape. Then we just like pick them up the next day and test them for West Nile virus.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty weird. Hope that's not like confidential information. I think that's just a general skeeter trap.
That's a state secret right there.
Yeah,
You're giving the Ruskies our information, Evan. Come on.
a national secret. How to trap skeeters. But anyway, totally hard shift.
All right, let's do it.
Today, we're endeavoring to write letters to ourselves in 1 year, see how we're doing, I guess, and just sort of make a small sort of time capsule that we can read in a year and be like, oh yeah, that's how far we've come and what we were doing.
Yeah, and I thought this would be also an interesting time to do this, or I've realized that this is a good time to do this because I think I want to get this episode published next week, specifically because next week marks 1 year since the first episode was published.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, look at that perfect timing.
I know, right? We are professionals.
Yeah, definitely. This was intentional.
So it's us 1 year from the day when the podcast started writing letters to our future selves 1 year
2
from
years
now.
after podcast started.
Exactly.
Huh.
This is 2 AP.
AP.
After podcast.
Oh. It is. Well, it will be.
It will be.
Almost
yeah.
1 AP.
Yeah, just about.
How are we going to celebrate?
I don't know. That is a good question. I guess this is what we're doing right now. Yeah, how did you go about writing this letter to your future self?
I broke it down into like categories, sort of what I'm doing now and then where I expect to be at these things in the future. Or like just sort of like, this is what I'm doing now. Are you still doing these things? So I have about 5, which are school, job, relationships, hobbies, and then just like general interest, I guess. I'll just call it general because it's just like things that don't fit into the other things. How about you?
I wrote out 3 lessons or ideas that I've learned that I want to remind myself of and make sure I don't forget. I've written down a couple questions for my future self to answer, to see if I'm still
putting yourself on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. So 1 year from now, we can go back and check this out again. And then you've just given me the idea that I should probably write down what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So I'm adding that at the bottom.
Either I should do that again, or I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. One of those two, probably. Okay, so I'll start with my first category, sort of like showing what I've sort of stuff I've written.
All right,
So
sounds good.
for school, right now I'm going into 3B, so I'm a bit over halfway. But I would be curious how the semester in Sweden was, because that is to
Fair.
do with school technically. But
Mm-hmm.
so that, and then would I have any more of an idea if I'm gonna do masters or anything like that after? Because right now, like I'm thinking that once I graduate, I'll spend like at least a year just working and stuff, just to see what's out there. And then I'll probably go back for a not probably. I'll maybe go back for a master's, depending on like if I want to, like if I'm
Yeah.
like, geez, there's still so much I want to know. I mean, I guess there isn't that much to say about school, so that's pretty much it. But
Fair
in a year, I'll
enough.
be a lot closer to graduating. Do you have anything like that in yours?
Yeah, so I think what I'll do is just go through and match your what I'm doing right now categories because I didn't go out and map them out beforehand.
Okay.
So right now I am too in school. I'm doing the media communications diploma at college right now.
Which college?
Humber College,
Just in case you forgot. Next year.
maybe. That's true. That's entirely possible because at this point next year I will have graduated.
Ooh, so be like, man, where'd I go again? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'll only be like a month out of school, but it'll probably already be way back.
And
Completely
I'm
forgotten
in,
about it.
just to clarify, I am in environmental science, specializing in ecology at U Waterloo. I didn't say that in my original thing, but now it's out there.
Yeah, so right now I'm taking 7 classes.
Is 7 standard again? Because that sounds like a
No,
whole lot.
7 is slightly more. 6 is about normal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I added in an elective just for fun.
Psychology.
Yeah, that's the one. And actually, it has been fun. I'm enjoying it. I would prefer it if there were lectures, because right now I'm basically just reading the textbook and doing the tests. But
That's an expensive book.
yeah, actually, it is. But yeah, I don't know where I will be or what I'm going to be planning to do in a year's time because
Another school.
I mean that thought has crossed my mind. It's tempting to go back to school to perhaps try and do a different university degree or something. There are some
Hmm.
ideas that I have that would be very interesting.
But sorry, you were saying because.
Just because I will have graduated and I will have done an internship and I'll have to decide if I want to, like we said, go to school or if I want to work for a bit or try
Hmm.
out a bunch of different kinds of working or different industries, you know? I feel like I will be a very different person in a lot of ways in 1 year's time.
I mean, hopefully. That's the whole growth mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, not being a different person, I guess, but just adding a lot of skills and stuff.
The idea is I'll be a better person, but I don't entirely know exactly how.
So speaking of how, after both of our current schooling situations, we both want to like maybe work for a year or so, just to, see what's out there with like the education we have. Um, so what sort of my next category is job. I mean, you don't have a job right now, so what sort of job are you looking for in the future? I guess.
So
Well, I mean, Toastmasters is kind of your job, but
it is kind of, yeah. I'm so hyped up that a lot of that's wrapping up in a couple weeks.
ooh,
Oh, you know what's so exciting?
what?
The club that I'm a coach at, they need to get distinguished status for me to successfully complete my club coaching
Yeah.
and to have been a good club coach. They just got distinguished.
Ooh,
So good.
huh.
They just got a new member out of the blue, emailed them saying, "Hey, can I join?" And they're like, "Yes, you can join." And then they got enough members and they're distinguished.
So, what sort of jobs would you be looking at in a year from now, or do you think you'll have?
This is a fascinating question. I've been trying to figure that out. There are positions basically called media communications something or other. And that's basically just someone who deals with the media, be it like getting publicity or creating content or
For
general
like
marketing of stuff.
companies?
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Generally, that's for medium and large companies, apparently. They
Running a
will
Twitter
have those
account?
positions. Maybe, maybe, if I learn how to use Twitter.
Ugh.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. Another position I've been kind of tempted by or that's been kind of appealing to me is some kind of web developer because
Hmm.
that's part of the program and that seems pretty
Learn,
chill.
yeah, learning all that HTML.
I have been, yeah. It's
Mhm.
it's not too bad.
And that I guess you'd work for the same sort of like companies or something that'd be like, hey, we want a site, and you need to just maintain this site, that sort of thing.
Something like that, or it could be an agency that works with companies on like a project by project basis,
Hmm.
like a contractor kind of situation.
That's a very you job. You like dealing with promotion of things like this podcast or Toastmasters. So I could see you doing that. For mine, I'll be working a year from now, but it'll be
Okay.
just another co-op. So I have no idea what that'll be. Yeah, just for future me. Right now, you'll remember I am a field agent and I'm trapping and or treating mosquitoes that can carry West Nile virus. So I'm just biking around. Hopefully, you still don't wake up at 5 a.m., but have a pretty good sleep schedule. Because this is like, I think I said before, but this is like hard resetting my sleep schedule to like caveman sleep schedule. Because I'm literally sleeping with the sun.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when I wake up sort of just before the sunrise, and I go to sleep kind of just after or around the sundown. For both next summer and just sort of once I've graduated my degree, I'm still thinking of the same sort of jobs I was thinking about when I started this degree, which is good
Hmm.
because they're very applicable. Which is sort of just like wildlife technician working with and monitoring wildlife populations, or some sort of like silviculture. I learned all about that when I read The Secret Life of Trees. That just pretty much seems cool because I can be in a forest and just look at plants all day.
You should get some kind of job in the marijuana industry. Sound like a 40-year-old man right now.
The marijuana industry. Nah,
Why is it that every dad is obsessed with the marijuana industry?
I don't know. They're like, holy, let's invest all our money in it. I know one friend's dad, right when it became legal, he just like ordered some seeds and kept trying to grow pot in the backyard. Like he didn't even smoke it. He just wanted to see if he could grow it just because he could, because it's legal now.
Fair
That's
enough, actually.
that's kind of based.
That's an opinion I can get behind.
You're like, if it really comes down to it, could I deal drugs and produce them if I had to? Yeah, I remember like 2 years ago, everyone was like, "Are you investing in marijuana? Because it's just about to be legal. You better invest."
But anyways, working with plants.
I don't think I'll work in the marijuana industry,
There you
but
go.
you never know. So then my third is relationships.
Mhm.
Shout out to Sangi, because I think I forgot last time. Oof. Sorry. I'm sure we'll still be dating and stuff, but I'm also thinking of friends and family and whatever as
Yeah.
well.
You'll still have your family. You won't have just left them.
That's the plan. They won't have just disappeared off of the face of the earth. And yeah, I'm hoping I'll still have all the friends I have now, plus a few more. I don't really have anyone around that I'm like, "Ugh, you suck. I hope you're not around in a year."
That's good.
Future Evan, remember to catch up with everyone. And do you have anything under relationships? Or?
I would say more or less the same. Relationship is pretty hype.
Yes.
That's going to keep going. I should definitely be talking and catching up with family and friends more than I do. Like my dad texted me the other day apparently just saying, "Hey, there are tornadoes around you. Are you okay?" And I saw the text today. It was like 2 days ago. I was
And
like,
you're
"Oh
like,
shit."
"Ugh, yes, I'm fine.
I
I
didn't
didn't
even know.
die."
Yeah, so
Did you
just
see a tornado?
I did not, but he sent me videos of some. Apparently there were
Wow.
sheds getting blown around.
Huh.
I haven't been outside really in the past couple weeks, so
I would say go outside, but it sounds like there's tornadoes around now, so maybe don't.
yeah, I know, right? It's like there's either tornadoes around or it's full of people.
Oh yeah, yesterday I was just doing my job. It was around noon, and I was
Hmm.
biking around this very suburban neighborhood, like
Hmm.
suburbs for kilometers, and I just hear a noise, and I look to my left, and about like 4 meters to my left, there's just a wild turkey standing on somebody's lawn, just looking around. And
Interesting.
it didn't look that alarmed. Like it didn't look like it belonged there, but it didn't look like super spooked. And I was just like, "How did you get here? Where did you come from?" Because I literally didn't see a forest for like far ways. So and then it just sort of ran off, and I was like, "Should I do something about this? I don't really know what I can do about this.
Yeah, I don't know.
There aren't like I can't like call the turkey police. Hopefully that turkey's all right."
It's an important relationship. You got to maintain it.
Yeah, that random turkey that was just in the suburbs
Yeah, you
for
got to
some
keep
reason.
up with your friends. But anyways,
But
those are relationships. It would be good if I kept up with some more people, but
and let everyone know when you didn't get killed by tornadoes.
I know, right? That's an idea right there.
Yeah. It's good information to have.
Yeah, I know, right?
So for both of us, keep up your relationships. Remember to talk to people.
Yeah.
It'll be easier in a year, probably.
Hopefully. Maybe we'll do
Uh,
the next future self letters. Or whenever we read these or listen to this, we can do it together.
to catch up our future selves. Remember this time in 2020, starting in like late March, it was just on lockdown because of COVID. And there were like thousands of cases everywhere, and you had to be 6 feet from everyone you didn't live with at all times. Remember? That was weird. Hopefully, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, everybody will have forgotten in a year's time.
Honestly, I think they will. I think they'll forget
Probably,
very
actually.
quick.
Yeah, probably. Honestly, I forget now.
I often forget now because
I'm just used to it.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
spend my day working alone. There isn't much difference there. And then when I'm just hanging out at home, I forget because I obviously don't have the distance here. So it's maybe only like 10% of my waking time that I'm like, oh yeah, stay away from me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Most of my work was independent, anyways. So I'm just doing work at home instead of at school.
Now my next one is hobbies,
Okay.
and I've just got podcast. This is, I guess, a hobby. I don't really know what you'd call it, but I would call it a hobby. And so that'll still be going on, and we'll be having some sort of 2 AP party.
Yeah.
And then also I have just like sports like hockey, hiking, and mountain biking and stuff. I hope I can do all those as regularly as I want.
Oh, you mountain bike?
Well, like trail bike.
Ah, okay.
Not a lot of mountains around here, but there are a lot of trails. So,
There you go. That'll do it.
and then camping and stuff like that. Hope I'm still able to do it. And then, reading books is nice. I dislike The Name of the Wind less now. I like it again.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
Because, yeah, he just spent so much time. Like you said, you called him a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Book update from like 3 podcasts ago, just in case anyone's wondering what I'm talking about. I'm currently reading The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss.
That's good because I think this one might come out before the books episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, anyway, in the books episode, I was talking about this book that I'm reading right now. And I'm almost done it because I like it a lot more. It was good for like the first third, and then he just went to this university and was just sort of good at everything, and that was just sort of what he was doing all the time, just being the best at everything.
Hmm.
And just messing around at a university. And I'm like, I already do the messing around at a university. And it's not very interesting if you're the best at everything, like not very relatable, even though
Hmm.
I'm also the best at everything. So I
Sure,
was like,
sure.
oh, this book's whack. But then he left the university and is
Mm.
like seeing dragons and stuff. And I'm like, ooh, now we're talking.
I don't
Yeah.
remember dragons. Neat.
Yeah. So he saw a Dracus. Yeah. So anyway,
Nice.
the book's good again. And then the final thing for hobbies is just like languages question mark,
Hmm.
because I remember I think it was in grade 11
Hmm.
I said that I wanted to be fluent in 5 languages. This was like a letter to your future self. I think it was in like 2 or 3 years time, but anyway, I
Okay.
read it now. And one thing I was talking about was like I want to be fluent in like 5 languages,
Hmm.
and I'm fluent in 2, conversational in another 2, and then I have one that I plan on learning in the future. So once I learn all 5 of those fluently, then I'm like, boom,
Honestly,
first.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, keeping them all up will be a challenge, and not
That's
just
true.
like only knowing the one that I speak and then the one that I'm learning.
You know what's fascinating that
What?
I read the other day in a textbook that I was reading just for fun called Principles of Neuroscience?
Okay.
Apparently, it's a physically different or a physiologically different process in the brain when a child's learning a second language versus an adult.
Huh.
Like a child, their first language when they're talking with it, and their second language when they're talking with it, or the area of the brain that's responsible for producing the speech sounds, so like the motor movements of your mouth and like vocal
Yeah.
cords and all that, it's the exact same spot, like lighting up the exact same neurons. There'll be
Hmm.
some differentiation, but it's mostly the exact same. So that's for kids. But then for adults, it's like a whole new area forms right beside it. So like one part will like light up for their primary language and then another part for a secondary language.
Oh wow.
It's like right beside each other, but it's like a whole new section that they have to develop.
That makes a lot of sense because I've spoken English and French since I was like very young.
Hmm.
So I find that those are just sort of like their own thing, and I obviously keep them easier. But
Hmm.
now that I'm doing a lot of Swedish, sometimes I'll try to like see if I could say some things in Spanish,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'll insert Swedish words by accident.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense because it's like French and English are like the main languages in the mouth moving part over
Hmm.
here, and then over here are the like second languages
Yeah.
where it's Spanish and Swedish. So they sort of like get mixed in with each other.
I mean, you say that, but I got mixed up with English and French at like the end of high school when I was speaking a lot of both.
Oh,
Like I'd forget words in English, and that's my primary language. And I'd be like, I know it in French, but what's it in English?
yeah,
And people would be like, what the hell are you like French language first? And it's like, no, I picked this up in school, but like
yeah. That might just be from our school because I remember we'd learn like some science stuff or some history stuff only in French, at least at first.
that's true, but it was just regular words.
Uh,
Things that I
uh,
knew in English but just could not for the life of me remember.
I remember, yeah, my aunt, she is Anglophone, but lives in Quebec because my uncle's Quebecois, and he's Francophone. And because of just like her work environment and everything, she speaks French like pretty much all the time. So she says like sometimes she forgets English words now.
Hmm.
Like a while ago, she said that she and her coworkers spent like so long trying to remember the English word for raccoon, but they just could not remember it.
Oh, that's funny.
What do they define as adult and child? What's the
They
cutoff?
in the textbook they define child as less than 7.
Oh, so like
So
so
very
you're
young.
like still learning your own language.
So yeah, exactly. So I think it is exactly what you're saying, that you're still developing the primary language, and if you develop another language at the same time, you're able to just use the same neurons.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, what would you put under your hobbies?
That's a good question. As usual, I've been thinking about the classification of all the things that I've been doing, because that seems to be something that just comes up every like couple weeks for me as some
Yeah.
existential crisis. I've been thinking about what more so classify it as a personal thing that I'm doing or professional thing. And what I'm thinking right now is that I should really focus on doing well in school and excelling in my projects. So that takes up all of my professional goals for any given day. And then personal wise, it would be any kind of self development or Toastmasters or the podcast, though that's arguably professional, though it is really professional.
It's very much both, I guess.
It is. Yeah, it's this interesting space because right now it feels like we're just chilling, but we're
Hmm.
also producing something.
Yeah, that's just going out in the world.
It's some of the most fun work that there is.
Honestly, I don't even think of it as work. In my brain, it's just sort of like just go chat with Aiden for a bit.
Yeah, that's more or less what the recordings are like, yeah. But yeah, I think that is more or less the gist of what I'm up to right now. School Toastmasters podcast.
Okay. And you were doing like, your exercise, like your long walk challenge and stuff. Did you win that, by the way?
I forget how many we've done now, like 6 or something. I think I've won half.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. I know, right? Not bad, not bad.
That's a statistically good amount considering it's more than two people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's the main hobbies thing.
Yeah.
And then the last one I have is general, which is just sort of like, how are you feeling right now? What are you thinking about a lot of the time?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. I guess COVID would be under the general as well. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like the general atmosphere around you at the time.
Yeah. That's a big mood right now.
Yeah. Although luckily not as much. Social media's gotten over it a little bit. Yeah, so right now I'm doing my own thing a lot. I guess more introverted than I normally am. It's quite exhausting to like, I don't know, go for a walk with somebody and then have to like constantly be like, stay away from me. So spending time alone is like nicer than it normally is. And I'm just like spending lots of time going for walks while reading or in the woods and just seeing all this nature and stuff. And that's what I'm
Mm.
spending most of my leisure. And that's pretty much my general, I guess. How about you?
Just general things that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, just like the general atmosphere around you right now.
I guess, yeah, the general atmosphere for me is just trying to deal with some of the overwhelm and exhaustion I've been feeling.
Oh, from all this crazy work that's keeping you inside.
Yeah, exactly. Like I need to get myself and my work organized such that I'm not staying up all night.
That would be nice.
Yeah, because I've been doing that more than I think I almost ever have, other than during like exam periods.
Mm.
And we're only in like week 4.
Yeah, that's not a good time for a whole semester, especially.
Yeah, exactly.
So future Aiden, if you haven't done it already, get sleeping.
Get sleeping, and yeah, I don't know exactly what it's going to be. A combination of prioritization, time blocking, just getting shit done.
Accepting that some stuff you can't get done.
That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. I found I found that was one big thing for like getting more sleep and just feeling more relaxed in my day. Less procrastination is half, probably a bit more than half, but just like doing stuff that you need to do, like if you need to do it, make it first priority and get it done. And
Yeah.
then the rest stuff that you like want to do, block out the time for it. But then if you don't get it done, just accept like, all right, sleep and health is more important. I guess I just won't get this done, at least not right now.
Yeah.
That was
Pretty much.
something I learned in university. There's a lot of stuff I'd be like, oh, I could just like lose a bit of sleep.
The thought that I am currently trying to overcome that I developed 2 or 3 weeks ago is that, well, I'm already going to have to stay up pretty late anyways if I want to get this done. Might as well just stay up the whole night and sleep tomorrow.
I remember you said you spent an all nighter and you were like, actually, it wasn't that bad. It's fun when it's like not a habit, but then when it's a habit, it must just be like, ugh.
Yeah, one all nighter when you're actually in the middle of the night and you've been sleeping regularly and are pretty well rested is a time and a half. That feels like a
Yeah,
party. It's so relaxing. You have all the time in the world to get your shit done.
yeah.
But then when you're like, all right, what if I do it again?
Then
That's
you're
when your
like,
body starts to get like physically rebelling against you.
hold up.
Yeah, I've been feeling somewhat sick for a little while. Completely self inflicted, not COVID related.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like it.
Yeah.
Self-inflicted, that is. But yeah, so I would say those categories cover my whole letter. But you had some stuff before, so did you have anything that didn't fit into the categories?
So is that like your whole letter, basically?
It's just sort of like saying, yeah, where I am now and what I hope to be doing in each of these 5 categories.
Oh, so that's like everything that you cover.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. So, I think that these thoughts would actually fit pretty well into the general category.
Okay.
I'll say 3 things here that I want to remind my future self of. One of which we've already kind of touched on, and I'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
But the first 2 ideas that I want to remember are to never settle for anything less than the best
Okay.
and that nothing matters, so chill out.
Okay. Very somewhat conflicting ideas,
Yeah,
but
I know. That's what I realized too while I was writing them out. It's that life or your career, I guess, is a balancing act of these 2 kind of things because you're not going to be able to accomplish much of anything if you're not ambitious, if you don't push yourself.
yeah.
But then you'll never actually be happy, and you can't be happy unless you're able to appreciate what you have right now and just chill out.
Okay. So you don't want to be like some slump who like doesn't do anything and just accepts it, but you also don't want to be someone who's constantly chasing the next thing. You want to have a healthy ambition.
Not quite. I think the idea was what I was saying with nothing matters is that if you go through, or if you think about the future, there are essentially an infinite number of things you can do, an infinite number of paths you can take, right?
Yeah.
And very significant amount of them are pretty good. Like the life that you lead down that path would be pretty chill.
Yeah.
So I need to calm the hell down, trying to pick or figure out or stress out which one's the best one or which one I have to pick and stick to because they're going to
Okay.
be pretty good.
Are you saying like you can't do all of them?
Yeah, you can't do all of them. So just pick one and have a good time with it. If that's not the right one, then change.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's a good philosophy.
And also inside of this nothing matters thing is the idea of not letting anybody else dictate what you have to do or what counts as a worthwhile life. Because a lot of people have opinions on this that they like to express to you.
Yeah.
And that gets into my head a lot. And I'm just start reworking my entire life. But
Yeah, you said like sometimes you would see like a presentation of like why this job or this lifestyle thing is like sick, and then you'd be like, oh shit, I have to do that. And then you'd be like, wait a minute, I don't even want to do that.
yeah, exactly. So it's not letting that get to me as much.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a very good concrete one.
But still, in whatever path I do choose, being exceptional at it and always putting my best foot forward, always doing my best work.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's admirable.
Yeah. So I hope that those two things are things that I'm going to be remembering, especially while I'm choosing jobs or potential more schooling.
What was the third thing?
The third one is that your health is not optional.
Yeah,
Exercise is not optional. Eating well and often is not optional.
and sleep.
Meditation isn't optional, really. Your relationships are not optional. You have to take care of yourself. Oh,
Yeah,
and sleep. Yes, thank you.
yeah, that's also good. I agree. That's a hard agree from me. I mean, I guess your health is optional, but if you just choose no health, then you'll die. So
And it really conflicts with the other things that I've said as well, because you can't really do your best if you're not healthy.
exactly, yeah,
Like your emotional well being and your ability to accomplish things is really tied to your physical well being.
it's pretty impossible to have a good, enjoyable life if you have a self-inflicted health issue.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't let that slip. Even though my sleep has been bad lately, and that definitely needs to get fixed, I haven't let myself slip on the exercise or the eating, right?
Like you can always come back. Like it's not the end
Hmm.
of the world if you like for a couple weeks get some
Hmm.
bad sleep. You can just start today to sleep well. Like it doesn't need to be like a whole thing of like I failed, because that's something a lot of people do. If like they're like I want to work out for every day for like 3 months, and then like 2 months in they'll like miss a day because it's unavoidable, and then they'll be like oh I failed. Oh, it's pointless now. Like I may as well just like wait and not do it until I can like come up with a whole new plan. But it's not that serious.
Shout out to episode 9, Getting Back on the Wagon,
Yeah,
all about this
exactly.
topic.
Exactly. To my future self too. Yeah. Don't lose sleep and eat well and exercise and go outdoors, see nature regularly and like have good relationships. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I have in my letter, and those last three things, I guess, for the last bits you have.
Yeah, I had a few questions that I added at the end. I
Okay.
asked myself as well. I'll just list them out, I guess, and we'll see if future me can give you an answer in like a year.
Maybe future me can answer them too if they're applicable for myself.
True. Yeah. Actually, some of them probably. Actually, a lot of them
So,
probably.
Evan, these are also for you.
Yeah, Evan, listen up.
2021, June 12th, Evan.
Listen.
Yeah,
First off, are you happy?
that's a good one.
Secondly, how are your perma buckets? So, how is your overall well being?
I will probably forget what permit is, but
Positive
you probably
emotions,
won't.
engagement, relationships, meaning, achievement.
Yeah.
I hope I don't forget. Maybe it'll still be on my wall.
Yeah, you've got it on a board. So,
Exactly. Yeah. The third one is, are you present? Like, as in, do you listen when people speak? Do you enjoy the little moments in your life? Are you actually present in the moment and experiencing things now? The fourth one is, what have you accomplished in the last year?
hmm.
And then the fifth one is, which path forward feels right to you?
Okay, more applicable to you than me because you're going to be at like the crossroads of like different jobs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. But
Questioning yourself is important.
yeah.
So we better listen to this in exactly. Let's listen to this right before our second podcast anniversary thing, and like answer all the questions.
That would be great. Everyone, listeners, if it is 2021 June or maybe even May, start
Yeah,
messaging us and harassing us to remind us to do this. I added it to my
exactly.
calendar, but
Damn. I mean, I don't use my calendar, so I didn't.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, everyone listening, all two of you who have my contact info, remind me in a year.
That's the letter.
That'll do it. That's the letter, yeah. And quotation.
Yeah. Yeah, that was all just reading
Yeah.
verbatim from our
I'm gonna
letters.
dictate it into like a 20-page letter.
There you go. That works. Don't differentiate between the two of us, just all one person speaking in the
Yeah,
letter. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, these things, I feel like these things are good because it is quite satisfying to look back on letters because I've had like a couple of these in the past
Mhm.
to my future self in like a couple of years time or whatever, and either think about like stuff that you found important then and like that you're like that's actually pointless now, like I don't need to worry about that, and know that you've like moved on from that, or to have achieved goals that you set for yourself. Like it was really satisfying to look back and be like, oh, that language thing, I'm actually like well on my way. I didn't just forget about it.
Yeah, I know. That's
Um
impressive. Good on you for that.
yeah, so that's quite nice. So hopefully we've come closer to achieving the goals that we set, especially the health ones.
Yeah, one thing that I will mention for the listeners is that the next couple episodes are going to be published not in the order that we recorded them in.
Ooh, like a memento sort of deal.
Kind of, yeah.
A real artistic choice.
So if we start referring to things that don't make sense, they might be coming up in a future
Yeah.
episode.
Set like 5 hours aside and just listen to all like the two before and two after this, and then it'll all make sense.
Sure, yeah, that works. That sounds good. Yeah, every time a new one comes out, just listen to 5.
Okay, so to our future selves, see you in a year.